Hi everyone, my name is Evelyn Mercer. I'm 34 years old. I came home on a rainy Thursday night to empty closets, an open safe, and a text from my mother that said, "Let your sister start over." And by midnight, I realized the only person in my family who cared enough to tell me the truth was my 12-year-old niece. I stood in my bedroom doorway with my purse still on my shoulder, rainwater dripping from my hair onto the hardwood, staring at the naked metal hangers swinging inside my closet. Not messy, not searched, emptied. My winter coats were gone. My black dress I wore to interviews was gone. The cedar box with my grandmother's earrings was gone. Even the spare blankets from the top shelf were missing, folded neatly into someone else's escape plan. Then, I saw the safe. It sat open inside the hall closet, the little green light blinking like it was proud of itself. The folder with my house papers was still there. My passport was still there. But the envelope of emergency cash I kept hidden behind my old tax returns was gone. So were the 2 savings bonds my grandfather had left me, and the small velvet pouch with my mother's original wedding band. The one she had given me after her second vow renewal with my dad. Not because she was sentimental, but because she said my sister would just lose it. That was always how my family loved me. They gave me what mattered because I was responsible. Then, they took from me because I was responsible. My phone buzzed in my hand before I even called anyone. Mom. Not a call. A text. "Before you get upset, please remember that Natalie has been through a lot. Let your sister start over." I read it 3 times. Not, "Are you okay?" Not, "What happened?" Not, "Did she take your things?" Just that, "Let your sister start over." As if my life was a hotel room, she could strip for towels before checkout. My sister's name is Natalie Mercer. She's 31, beautiful in the way that makes strangers forgive her before she speaks. With soft brown hair, big worried eyes, and a talent for turning every consequence into a rescue mission. Natalie had been staying with me for 6 weeks. That was supposed to be temporary. That word had done more damage to my life than any insult ever had. Temporary meant her boxes in my dining room. Temporary meant her daughter, Lily, sleeping on my office daybed because Natalie needed privacy to heal. Temporary meant my grocery bill doubled, my bathroom drawers filled with her makeup, and my evenings disappearing into math homework, laundry, and listening to Natalie cry about a boyfriend named Camden who had betrayed her energy. Temporary meant I was the mean one if I asked when she planned to get a job. 2 days before everything vanished, Natalie hugged me in the kitchen while I was packing Lily's lunch. She smelled like my shampoo. She said, "Evie, I don't know what I'd do without you." And I remember thinking, with the quiet shame of someone who has been trained since childhood to be useful, maybe this time she means it. She didn't. She meant she had already found the safe code. I called my mother first. Her name is Marjorie Mercer, and she answered on the second ring with the tone of a woman who had already rehearsed disappointment. "Evelyn," she said, "do not make this ugly." I looked at the empty space where my suitcase used to be. "Mom, Natalie robbed me." There was a pause. Not surprise. Calculation. She borrowed what she needed. She took cash, jewelry, clothes, documents, and my laptop. She's desperate. So I'm supposed to be what? Honored? My mother sighed, the deep theatrical kind she used whenever I forced her to hear reality. "You have always had stability. Natalie has struggled." There it was. The family constitution. I had stability because I worked for it. Natalie struggled because everyone kept cushioning the floor before she fell. When we were kids, Natalie broke my violin bow because she was mad I got first chair. My parents told me not to ruin her birthday weekend. When I was 19, she borrowed my college laptop and spilled wine on it at a party. Dad said I should have backed up my work. When I was 27, she cried during my promotion dinner because she felt behind in life, and somehow the night ended with everyone comforting her while my cake melted in the kitchen. So when my mother said she struggled, I felt something inside me go very still. Where is she? I don't know exactly. Mom, she needed space. With my money? With her daughter, Mom snapped. I turned toward Lily's room. The bed was made too neatly. The stuffed fox she carried everywhere was gone, but the purple lamp I bought her was still on, casting a soft little circle on the wall. Lily's with her? Of course she is. Don't start. Something about that sentence felt wrong. Not because Natalie wouldn't take Lily. She would, but Lily was careful. Quiet. The kind of child who watched adults the way other kids watched cartoons. She noticed which mood was safe, which question cost too much, which drawer her mother opened when she thought no one was looking. Lily had once whispered to me, while we made pancakes, "Mom says people who love us don't make us explain." I asked her what that meant. She just shrugged and poured too much syrup. My father called next. His name is Robert Mercer, and he had always been softer than my mother, which somehow made him more dangerous. My mother pushed. My father translated the push into something that sounded kind. "Evie," he said gently, "take a breath." "I don't need breathing instructions. I need my things back." "I understand you're upset. Dad, my safe is open. She's your sister. That's not a legal defense." His voice lowered. "Do not drag a child into this." I froze. I hadn't mentioned Lily. Rain tapped against the kitchen windows. The house felt too large around me, gutted and listening. "What does Lily have to do with it?" I asked. Silence. Then he said, "She's been through enough. Don't call her. Don't interrogate her. Don't make her choose sides." Choose sides. The phrase landed like a dropped glass. Because children don't choose sides unless adults have already built a battlefield around them. "Dad," I said slowly, "where are Natalie and Lily?" "I'm asking you to be mature." "No, you're asking me to be quiet." He exhaled. "You always make things sound harsher than they are." That almost made me laugh. My whole life, I had done the opposite. I had softened every theft into borrowing, every insult into stress, every humiliation into misunderstanding. I had edited my own pain until it sounded polite enough for family dinner. And they still called me harsh when I used the correct words. After I hung up, I walked through my house like a stranger. Natalie's boxes were gone from the dining room. The framed photo of me and Lily at the zoo was missing from the refrigerator. My bathroom cabinet had been cleared of skincare, perfume, even the prescription face cream with my name on the label. In the guest room, the drawers were open. Lily's school uniform was gone. Her backpack was gone. But on the floor beside the bed, half hidden under the dust ruffle, was one tiny pink sock. I picked it up and sat down. That was when the anger cracked and something colder moved in. Because this wasn't chaos. This was packing. Planned packing. Natalie hadn't panicked. She had made choices. She had decided what belonged to her, what belonged to me, and what she could force me to lose without consequences. Then I heard something slide under the front door. A soft scrape. Paper against wood. I stood so quickly the sock fell from my hand. For 1 second, I thought Natalie had come back. But when I reached the entryway, there was no one outside. Just the porch light shining over the wet steps, the empty street, and a small pink notebook lying halfway across my welcome mat. Lily's notebook. The one with glitter stickers on the cover and a bent corner from being carried everywhere in her backpack. My hands actually shook when I picked it up. Inside the front cover, in Lily's round, careful handwriting, were 6 words. "Auntie, don't call Mom yet." Under that were 3 addresses. A storage unit code, and one sentence that made my knees go weak. "She said if you find us before Friday, Grandma can't make you forgive her." I read Lily's sentence until the ink blurred. "She said if you find us before Friday, Grandma can't make you forgive her." Not won't, can't? Like, Friday was a deadline. Like something happened then that would turn theft into tragedy, or custody into leverage, or silence into agreement. I flipped the page. Lily had drawn arrows beside the 3 addresses. 1. A Blue Door Motel, room maybe 18. FI 2. Abui Storage King, Unit C14. Code 90703. Afiu Camden's friend Jace. White House. Green truckaway are under that. In smaller writing, Ave Mom said Auntie thinks she's smarter than everyone. She said you'll call police and ruin everything. Please don't be mad. I put this in your mail slot when Mom was getting gas. My throat tightened so fast I had to sit on the stairs. Lily had been here. Minutes ago? Maybe? Close enough to slip a notebook under my door. Close enough that if I had come home earlier, I might have seen her little face through the rain. And she had risked it. At 12 years old, my niece had done what 3 grown adults in my family refused to do. She told me the truth. I wanted to call Natalie and scream until my voice broke. Instead, I forced myself to breathe and took photos of every page. Then I called the police. The officer who came was named Diaz. She was maybe in her 40s, calm-eyed, with rain on the shoulders of her jacket. Her partner stayed near the entryway while she walked through the house with me. I showed her the empty closet, the open safe, the texts from my mother, the notebook. When she read Lily's message, her face changed. Your niece is 12? Yes. And her mother removed her from your home tonight? She's her legal guardian, I said, hearing how helpless it sounded. Officer Diaz glanced at the page again. That doesn't mean we ignore a child leaving a note like this. For the first time all night, I felt the smallest crack of air open in my chest. I gave her Natalie's number, my parents' numbers, Camden's full name, what little I knew about him. Diaz asked if Natalie had a history of drug use, violence, mental illness, threats. I wanted to say no. That was the answer my family had trained me to give. No, Natalie is just overwhelmed. No, she doesn't mean it. No, she's not dangerous, just dramatic. But I thought of Lily's careful handwriting. Don't call Mom yet. She has a history of using people, I said. She lies. She steals. She disappears when she's cornered. And she uses Lily to keep people from pushing back. Officer Diaz nodded like none of that surprised her. We'll send someone by the motel and the storage unit, she said. But Ms. Mercer, if your sister has your property and your niece is safe physically, this may become complicated quickly. Complicated was another word people used when they didn't want to say hard. I understand, I said, but I want a report filed. Good, she said. That one word almost undid me. Good. Not dramatic. Not selfish. Not harsh. Good. After the officers left, I didn't sleep. I made coffee I didn't drink and sat at my kitchen table with Lily's notebook open in front of me. At 2:13 a.m., my phone rang. Natalie. I let it ring. Then a text appeared. You called the cops? Are you insane? Wait another. Yeah, you're scaring Lily. Wake, another. Evie, Mom was right about you. And my hands curled around the phone. Then a video came through. For a second, I couldn't make myself open it. When I did, Lily appeared on screen in the back seat of a car, wrapped in her blue hoodie. Her eyes were red. Natalie's voice came from off camera, syrupy and sharp at the same time. Tell Aunt Evelyn you're fine. Lily looked at the camera. I'm fine, she whispered. Tell her she's making this worse. Lily's mouth trembled. She's making this worse. The video ended. I stood up so fast the chair scraped backward. Then came Natalie's next message. If you love her, stop. There it was. The oldest weapon in our family. If you love us, obey. I forwarded everything to Officer Diaz's card number, then called my father. He answered like he'd been waiting. Evelyn, he said, exhausted. What have you done? What has Natalie done? She's hysterical. Your mother is crying. I'm sorry their robbery was stressful. Stop saying that word. Robbery? She didn't break in. She lived there. She opened my safe. You gave her access to your home. I laughed once, flat and ugly. So if you invite someone to dinner and they steal your silverware, that's hospitality? This is exactly why Lily shouldn't be involved. She involved Lily when she made her record that video. Silence. Then Dad said quietly, What video? And for one brief second, I heard it. He didn't know. Not all of it. My mother had probably given him the edited version. Natalie left. Evelyn overreacted. Lily is fine. Police are cruel. I sent him the video without a word. He stayed on the line while it delivered. Then, while he watched it, I heard his breathing change. "Robert?" My mother's voice snapped faintly in the background. "Who are you talking to?" Dad didn't answer her. "Evie," he said, and his voice was different now. Smaller. "Where did you get this?" "Natalie sent it to me." Another silence. Then my mother came on the line. "Evelyn, you need to stop this immediately." "No. You have no idea what's going on." "Then tell me." "That poor girl is terrified because you sent police after her mother." "That poor girl slid a notebook under my door telling me not to call Natalie." My mother went quiet. Not confused. Caught. "You knew about the notebook?" I asked. "She's a child. Children dramatize things." I felt cold all over again. "Mom, what happens Friday?" No one spoke. "What happens Friday?" I repeated. My mother's voice hardened. "Your sister has an opportunity. A real one. And you will not sabotage it because of your obsession with being right." "What opportunity?" Dad said. "Marjorie," she snapped. "She was going to find out anyway." Then she sighed like she was the victim of my persistence. "Natalie is leaving the state with Camden. He has work in Arizona. They can start over somewhere you haven't poisoned everyone against her. With my money. With family resources. With Lily? She is Lily's mother. She pulled Lily out of school without telling anyone. She can enroll her elsewhere." I gripped the edge of the counter. There it was. Friday wasn't forgiveness. Friday was disappearance. New state. New school. New story. And once Natalie crossed that line, everything would become harder. My stolen property would become a civil dispute. Lily's fear would become adjustment. My parents would close ranks and say I was vindictive. "What about the storage unit?" I asked. My mother inhaled sharply. Dad said, "What storage unit?" I looked down at the notebook. For the first time, I understood why Lily had written 3 addresses. She hadn't just told me where to look. She had told me where the lies separated. My mother knew about Friday. My father knew about Lily. Natalie knew about the theft. But no one knew the whole plan except the child they thought wasn't listening. I hung up. At 6:40 a.m., while the sky was still gray, Officer Diaz called. "We found your sister's car at the Blue Door Motel," she said. "Room 18 was empty when officers arrived. Front desk says she checked out around 3. My stomach dropped. "But," Diaz continued, "we also went to the storage unit." I sat down slowly. "And?" I asked. "There's something you need to see." Storage King sat behind a strip mall with a closed nail salon and a laundromat glowing under fluorescent lights. Officer Diaz met me at the gate. Her expression told me to prepare myself, which was impossible. You can prepare for a bill, a storm, a bad conversation. You cannot prepare to see your life stacked in cardboard boxes behind a roll-up door. Unit C14 was halfway down the 3rd row. The manager, a nervous man named Paul, punched in the code Lily had written. 907. The door rattled up. And there it was. My camel coat. My suitcase. My grandmother's cedar box. My standing mixer. My laptop bag. 2 lamps from my living room. Bags of clothing. My emergency cash envelope, empty and tossed on top of a plastic bin like trash. For a moment, no one spoke. Then I saw Lily's purple backpack in the corner. I moved before Diaz could stop me. It was open. Inside were her schoolbooks, a hairbrush, 3 granola bars, and the stuffed fox she slept with every night. But no Lily. My knees almost folded with relief and terror at the same time. "She left this?" I whispered. Diaz crouched beside me. Or someone took her without it. That was worse. Paul shifted behind us. "Look, I didn't know this was stolen property. The lady said she was moving." "What lady?" She explained I couldn't just load my belongings into my car yet, not until they documented it properly. My life had become evidence. While she worked, Paul pulled up the rental agreement. Name, Achi He, Marjorie Mercer. Got a emergency contact. Akiishi, Camden Vale. My mother hadn't just known. She had signed. I stared at her neat cursive on the paper and felt something inside me finally detach. There are betrayals that hurt because you don't expect them. And there are betrayals that hurt because you realize you did expect them and still hoped you were wrong. Diaz copied the file, then stepped aside to make a call. That was when I noticed something wedged behind Lily's backpack. A folded page torn from the notebook. I didn't touch it. I called Diaz over. She put on gloves and opened it. Lily had drawn a map. Not a good one. A child's map, made of landmarks, motel, gas station, big cow sign. Road with no lights. At the bottom she had written, Hakeef, backpack, is here. Mom changed cars. Jace has green truck. Grandma said no phones after Thursday. Camden said Auntie will give up when it gets expensive. My face burned. Not from anger, from recognition. That was exactly what they believed about me. That I had limits they could calculate. That my love had a budget. That if they made the road long enough, confusing enough, humiliating enough, I would eventually sit down and swallow the loss. Officer Diaz read the note twice. We need to treat this as more than property theft now, she said. Will anyone do anything before Friday? She looked at me, and I appreciated that she didn't lie. We can request a welfare check. We can flag your niece as potentially at risk. But unless we can show imminent danger or a custody violation, your sister has rights as her parent. What about the video? It helps. What about my mother helping hide stolen property? That helps too. I almost laughed. Everything helped, but nothing saved. Then my phone rang. Dad. I answered on speaker before Diaz could tell me not to. Evie, he said. His voice sounded wrecked. I went to your house. I'm not there. I saw the police tape on the safe. There isn't police tape, Dad. I mean, I saw what she did. Behind his words was wind. He was outside. Where are you? At your house? Your mother told me not to go. His voice broke in a way I had never heard. She said Natalie only took a few things. She signed for a storage unit, Dad. Silence. What? Mom rented it. Paid cash. Listed Camden as emergency contact. He made a sound like the air had been punched out of him. Then very quietly he said, She told me Lily wanted to leave. I closed my eyes. She didn't. I asked Marjorie if Lily seemed okay and she said I was being manipulated by you. He laughed bitterly. By you. The only person not asking us for anything. Officer Diaz looked at me, listening. Dad, I need Jace's address. The one with the green truck. I don't know a Jace. Camden does. Mom might. No, he said suddenly. What? I know how to get it. 20 minutes later, my father sent a screenshot. It was from my mother's tablet calendar. Friday, 9 a.m. ABLM, with N2C. Bring lilybc.et, birth certificate. My hands went numb. Below it, in the notes field, was an address. A white house on Briar Cut Road. Jace. Diaz took one look and called it in. I followed her there in my car, though she told me I didn't have to. Maybe I shouldn't have. But by then, I was past being the version of myself who waited politely while other people decided how much truth I deserved. Briar Cut Road was 15 minutes outside town, where the houses spread apart and the ditches filled with brown rainwater. The white house had peeling shutters. And in the driveway sat a green truck. My heart started hammering so hard I could hear it. A man in a sleeveless shirt opened the door before Diaz knocked twice. Police already came by, he said. Told them I don't know nothing. Diaz smiled without warmth. Then you won't mind telling me again. His eyes flicked past her to me. Recognition. Not of me personally. Of a problem he had been warned about. Where is my niece? I asked. Diaz said, Ms. Mercer. Jace smirked. Ask her mama. I stepped forward. She's 12. His smirk faltered, just a little. From somewhere inside the house, a floorboard creaked. Diaz heard it too. "Anyone else here?" she asked. "No." Another creak. Then, a small sound. Not a voice. A cough. Diaz's hand moved to her radio. Jace blocked the doorway. "You need a warrant." And that was when the upstairs window opened. A pale little face appeared behind the screen. Lily. For one impossible second, we just stared at each other. Then she pressed both hands to the screen and mouthed one word. "Help." Officer Diaz saw Lily at the same time I did. Her whole posture changed. Not panic. Command. "Step away from the door," she told Jace. He laughed, but it came out thin. "That kid's fine. She's just dramatic." I hated how familiar the words sounded. Diaz spoke into her radio. Possible minor being held at location. Requesting immediate backup. Jace's face drained. Upstairs, Lily disappeared from the window. I moved without thinking, but Diaz shot one hand out. "Evelyn, stay back." Inside the house, something crashed. Then Natalie screamed. I recognized him from Natalie's pictures. Blonde, sharp jaw, smile too confident for the amount of rent he probably owed. When he saw me, his expression shifted from surprise to disgust. "You," he said. "Where's Lily?" He glanced upstairs. That was all I needed. I ran. Behind me, Diaz shouted my name. Camden cursed. Jace yelled that nobody had permission to be there. At the top of the stairs, a bedroom door was half open. Natalie stood inside, gripping Lily's wrist. Lily's cheek was red. Not bruised yet. Red. Fresh. Something inside me went silent. Natalie saw me and burst into tears instantly, like her body had a switch. "Evie, thank God," she sobbed. "She's losing it. She's been lying to everyone." I didn't know what to do. Lily looked at me. She did not cry. That was the worst part. She had gone past crying. "Auntie," she whispered. "Let go of her," I said. Natalie clutched tighter. "You don't understand. Camden has a job. We have a place. Mom said you'd try to take her from me. You did that yourself." Her face twisted. There she was. Not the crying sister. Not the wounded daughter. The real Natalie, the one who came out when sympathy stopped working. "You think you're so much better than me," she hissed. "You always have." "No," I said. "I thought if I loved you enough you might stop punishing me for surviving you." For a second she looked slapped. Then Officer Diaz appeared behind me. "Release the child," Natalie started sobbing again. "I'm her mother, and I'm ordering you to release her." Backup thundered into the house below. Camden shouted. Then there was a heavy thud against a wall. Jace cursed until someone told him to shut up. Natalie looked from Diaz to me to Lily. Then she did the one thing I will never forgive. She pulled Lily in front of her. Not a hug, a shield. "She's mine," Natalie said. Lily's eyes closed. Diaz's voice went dangerously calm. "Natalie Mercer, take your hands off your daughter now." Maybe Natalie heard the change. Maybe she finally realized the performance wasn't landing. Her fingers opened. Lily ran to me. I dropped to my knees and wrapped both arms around her. She was shaking so hard her teeth clicked near my ear. "I'm sorry," she kept saying. "I'm sorry, Auntie." I didn't know what else to do. "You did everything right," I said. "Everything." Behind us, Natalie screamed my name as they put her in cuffs. Not Lily's. Mine. As if I had betrayed her by opening the door, she locked. At the hospital, they photographed Lily's cheek and wrist. A social worker named Ms. Anwar asked gentle questions, while Lily sat wrapped in a blanket, holding my hand so tightly my fingers went numb. Natalie had told Lily they were moving to Arizona with Camden because Aunt Evelyn was going to make us homeless. My mother had told Lily not to answer her phone because police take children away from mothers when jealous relatives lie. Camden had told Lily if she told anyone about the storage unit, I would go to jail for insurance fraud. Jace had locked her in the upstairs bedroom after she refused to get in the truck. That was the word that changed everything. Locked? Suddenly, it wasn't just family drama. It wasn't a misunderstanding. It wasn't my sister needing a fresh start. It was unlawful restraint of a minor. The stolen property mattered. The video mattered. The notebook mattered most. Lily had documented the plan because she thought no adult would believe her without proof. And the terrible thing was, she had been right. At 4:30 p.m., my parents arrived at the hospital. My father looked 10 years older. My mother looked offended. She marched toward me in the waiting room with her handbag clutched like a weapon. "Where is she?" she demanded. I stood. Safe. "I meant Natalie." Of course she did. Dad flinched. My mother turned on him. "Don't look at me like that. This is what happens when Evelyn escalates." I stared at her. For the first time in my life, I didn't feel the urge to explain myself. Officer Diaz came out before I could respond. "Mrs. Mercer," she said, "we need to speak with you regarding the storage unit rental and your involvement in transporting stolen property." My mother's face went white, then red. I was helping my daughter. "You may want an attorney present." Dad whispered, "Marjorie, what did you do?" She spun toward him. "What I had to." Natalie was drowning, and Evelyn was just sitting there with her perfect house and perfect job, judging her. "My house was open to her," I said quietly. "My pantry. My money. My time. My guest room." My arms were open to her child. Mom's mouth tightened. "And still," I continued, "you helped her empty it." For 1 second, something like shame crossed her face. Then it vanished. "You'll regret this when Lily hates you for destroying her mother." The doors behind me opened. Lily stood there in hospital socks, blanket around her shoulders. Ms. Anwar beside her. Her voice was small but clear. "I don't hate Auntie." My mother softened instantly, stepping forward. "Sweetheart, you're confused." Lily stepped back. "No," she said, "I'm not." My mother stopped. Lily looked at my father next. "Grandpa, I wanted to call you." "Grandma said you'd make me go because families stay together." Dad covered his mouth. Then Lily looked at me. "I want to stay with Auntie." The room went dead quiet. Miss Anwar placed a hand on Lily's shoulder. "Because I wanted one thing in that room to know it had been taken from me and returned." Natalie appeared by video from the county jail, eyes swollen, hair limp, voice trembling in that practiced way that had moved mountains in my family for 31 years. She told the judge she was overwhelmed. She said Camden pressured her. She said Lily misunderstood. She said I had always hated her and was using one bad night to steal her child. Then the court advocate read excerpts from Lily's notebook. The room changed, not dramatically. No one gasped. No one shouted. But every adult sitting there seemed to lean, almost invisibly, toward the truth. The video Natalie had sent me was entered. The storage unit receipt with my mother's signature was entered. Photos of Lily's cheek and wrist were entered. Then Lily spoke privately with the judge. I was not in the room for that part. Neither were my parents. Neither was Natalie's attorney. For 27 minutes, I sat in the hallway staring at a vending machine with a flickering light, while my father cried silently beside me. My mother sat across from us, stiff as porcelain, refusing to look at anyone. At one point she whispered, "This family will never recover from this." I turned to her and said, "Good." She looked shocked, but I meant it. Some things should not recover. Some patterns should die in a courtroom hallway under ugly fluorescent lights. When the judge returned, she granted me temporary emergency guardianship of Lily pending further review. Natalie was ordered to have no unsupervised contact. Camden and Jace were barred from contact entirely. My mother was not allowed to contact Lily except through the caseworker. When the judge said that, my mother made a wounded sound, like she had been struck. Lily did not. She just reached for my hand. That night, I brought her home. Not to my old house exactly, even though the address was the same. The rooms had changed. The air had changed. The silence had changed. The guest room became Lily's room, for real. Not a temporary place. Not a daybed in my office. A room with pale green curtains she chose herself. A bookshelf Dad built while crying through half the screws. And a lock on the diary drawer because children who tell the truth deserve somewhere safe to keep it. The first few weeks were hard. Lily woke from nightmares calling for me without making noise, just standing in my doorway like she was afraid sound itself might get her in trouble. She hid snacks in pillowcases. She apologized for using too much shampoo. She asked 3 times before putting her drawings on the refrigerator. Every time, I told her, "You live here. You're allowed to take up space." Sometimes she believed me. Sometimes she didn't yet. That was okay. Healing, I learned, is not one brave rescue. It is cereal at 7 a.m. It is therapy on Tuesdays. It is replacing a stolen stuffed fox because the old one smelled like Jace's house and made her hands shake. It is sitting on the bathroom floor while a child sobs because her mother called her a brat, and part of her still wonders if it was true. Natalie eventually took a plea. The theft charges stuck. So did child endangerment and unlawful restraint, though her lawyer fought every word as if vocabulary was the real crime. Camden took a deal first, because men like Camden are loyal only until consequences enter the room. Jace blamed everyone else and got the least sympathy. My mother was charged for her role in concealing stolen property and helping plan the move. She avoided jail, but she got probation, fines, and community service. She called it humiliation. I called it the first honest thing attached to her name in years. My father left her 3 months later. Not for me, not even for Lily. For himself, finally. He moved into a small apartment near the river and asked permission before visiting. The first time he came over, he brought Lily a beginner's birdwatching book and me a new safe. "I know it doesn't fix anything," he said. "No," I told him, "but it's a start." He nodded, eyes wet. Then Lily walked in and asked if he wanted to see the cardinal nest by the fence, and he followed her like a man being led out of a burning house. The pages were wrinkled from rain and fear and a little girl's determination to be believed. "I don't want to hide it in a drawer," she said. "Where do you want it?" She looked around, then pointed to the small table by the door where I kept my keys. "Here. So if I ever forget I was brave, I can see it." So that's where we put it. Right beside the bowl with our keys. Right beside the door she had once slipped it under because she was too scared to knock. That night, Lily fell asleep on the couch during a movie, her head against my shoulder, one hand tucked under her cheek. Outside, rain tapped softly against the windows. For the first time, the sound didn't feel like warning. It felt like washing something clean. I looked toward the entryway, at that battered pink notebook waiting in the lamplight, and I finally understood that my sister had not stolen everything. She had stolen things. Money, jewelry, clothes, trust, but she had not stolen my home. She had not stolen my voice. And she had not stolen the little girl who found a way to tell the truth when every adult around her told her to be quiet. If you've ever been told to stay silent so someone else can start over, tell me in the comments. Would you have opened the pink notebook?